Welcome to the Charity Raffles webinar, brought to you by the California Department of Justice's Registry of Charitable Trusts. During this webinar, we will refer to the Registry of Charitable Trusts as the Registry. This webinar will cover raffles and the legal requirements to operate a raffle in California. Please submit your raffle registration 60 days prior to the date set for your raffle to allow for processing. In California, charities seeking to raise donations through a raffle must first file a raffle registration form with the registry. The registry is tasked with licensing charity raffles under Penal Code Section 320.5. A raffle is a type of lottery in which a prize or prizes are awarded to people who pay for a chance to win. A winning ticket is drawn from all the entries. Any scheme involving a prize where payment or purchase of something will increase the chance of winning the prize is considered a raffle even if there is a free entry option. For example, contests called giveaways, sweepstakes, add-ons, random drawings, and opportunity drawings may actually be raffles that are subject to Penal Code 320.5 and require registration and reporting with the registry. Who can conduct a raffle? Only nonprofits can conduct a raffle in California. For-profit businesses and individuals are not allowed to conduct a raffle. So even if you are trying to raise money for a good cause, unless you are a charity, you are not permitted to conduct a raffle in California. A raffle must be conducted by the charity, its employees, and volunteers. No outside vendors can be used to conduct a raffle. It is important to note that in California, raffles are required to support charitable programs in California. Before a charity can conduct a raffle, it must show that it is in good standing with the registry, that it has been qualified to conduct business in California for at least 1 year before conducting the raffle. Lastly, it must show proof of tax-exempt status with the Franchise Tax Board pursuant to specific sections of the Revenue and Taxations Code. A charity can verify its tax-exempt status using the California Franchise Tax Board's website. To obtain a letter from the Franchise Tax Board regarding the charity's tax-exempt status, charities can use the self-service tool on the FTB's website to research and download their tax-exempt letter. To obtain this letter, please go to ftb.ca.gov. Select Help, Business Help, and Entity Status Letter. Select Check Status and enter your charity's name or ID number. You can then download and print the tax exemption letter. Hold on to that letter because you will need it to register your raffle with the registry. As mentioned earlier, a charity status must be current with the registry to conduct a raffle. Also, prior year raffle registration and reporting requirements must be satisfied. You can research the status of your charity on the Attorney General's website at rct.doj.ca.gov. If your charity is not registered, you will need to complete the registration process. If your charity's status with the registry is delinquent, your raffle registration will be denied until you clear the delinquent status. For assistance on clearing a delinquent status, please view the delinquency webinar found on the Attorney General's website. Likewise, if your charity is not registered, please refer to the Attorney General's website for information on registration. We also have a registration webinar available on our website at oag.ca.gov/charities. Note that while the registry's registration and reporting requirements do not apply to religious corporations, educational institutions, or hospitals, Those organizations must otherwise comply with the requirements of Penal Code Section 320.5 pertaining to raffles. Before you have a raffle event, you have to complete the raffle registration and receive confirmation from the registry. The raffle application CT-NRP1 form must be completely filled out. The top half of the form asks for the charity's name, address, and identification number. The charity must provide at least one identifying number: its federal employer identification number, Secretary of State or Franchise Tax Board number, or its charity registration number with the registry. The middle part of the form asks the charity to specify its tax exemption code, which is on the Franchise Tax Board's entity status letter. Check the appropriate box that matches your charity's tax exemption code. The form also requires that the charity provide dates for its raffle activities, and it must include the month, day, and year. The raffle calendar begins January 1 and ends December 31. Please note that the raffle registration year may not correspond with the charity's fiscal reporting year. Any raffles conducted outside of the raffle calendar year will require an additional raffle registration. After completing the form, the charity's authorized officer must sign and date the form. Raffle registrations are not renewable online at this time. Registration forms and fees must be submitted together by mail to the registry. At the end of the raffle year, a charity must file a financial report with the registry detailing the outcome of the raffle. Only one financial report is required for all raffles held during the calendar year. Use the form CT-NRP2. The reporting requirement applies even if the charity held no raffle after registering for one. The failure to file a financial report will lead to the denial of future raffle registration. These financial reports must be filed by February 1. For example, the report covering the period from January 1, 2024 to December 31, 2024 is due on February 1, 2025. Let's go over Form CT-NRP2 in more detail. For Part A, please provide the charity's name, address, and contact number, as well as one of the following identifying numbers: the Federal Tax Identification Number, Secretary of State Franchise Tax Board number, State Charity Registration Number, or the raffle registration number assigned by the registry when you received your raffle registration confirmation. For Part B, Question 1, the charity must state the year for which the report applies. For example, if it's for the 2024 raffle year, the report will include all raffle activities that happened from January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024. The next three questions in Part B require the charity to keep track of ticket sales and expenses. Question 2 asks for the total amount of ticket sales for the entire raffle year. For example, if your charity conducted 3 raffles for the year, list the total amount of all ticket sales for all 3 raffles. Question 3 asks for all costs incurred by the charity from the operation of the raffles. This includes the cost of the raffle prizes, advertising expenses, and printing expenses for ticket stubs. Please note that the law requires that 90% of the gross receipts generated by the sale of raffle tickets for any given drawing are to be used for charitable purposes. For example, if a charity raised $1,000 in ticket sales, it would be required to spend $900 of that amount to further its charitable purposes, and only $100 could be used to help pay for expenses or operating costs associated with conducting the raffle. If cost of operating the raffle is more than 10% of the ticket sales, causing the charity to exceed the 90-10 rule, and the charity decides to cover those expenses by using money from other sources, question 4 must be filled out. Part A of question 4 requires that the charity report the amount of money spent to conduct the raffle, and Part B requires that the charity list the source of funds used to support the raffle. Note that you are not allowed to use a prior year's raffle proceeds to pay for this year's raffle expenses. Please also note that raffles are to benefit the charity and the funds may only be used for charitable purposes. As noted earlier, the net proceeds must be used for charitable programs in California. If your charity is operating a raffle to support another charity, the recipient charity must also be tax exempt, have been in business for at least 1 year before the raffle, and must use the funds in California. Accordingly, question 5 asks the charity to identify the charitable or beneficial purpose for which the proceeds were used. If the charity gave the proceeds to another eligible charity, question 6 must be answered. Enter the recipient charity's information on the top of page 2. If there is more than one recipient charity, please add an attachment to the report. Part C of the form asks the charity to acknowledge if it has complied with all sections of the Penal Code. Each question must be answered. For question 1, you must certify that at least 90% of the gross receipts from the raffle ticket sales were used for the benefit of charitable purposes or to benefit another charity in California. For question 2, you must certify that none of the funds were given or used by an officer, director, or member of the charity who conducted the raffle. For question 3, you must certify that the raffle proceeds were not used to pay anyone who was involved with or connected to the raffle in any way. While the charity can use its employees or volunteers to organize the raffle, the employee's salary must be paid from other sources and cannot be paid out of raffle proceeds that are dedicated to beneficial or charitable purposes. For question 4, you must certify that no gaming machine, apparatus, or device, including but not limited to slot machines, was used in conducting the raffle. For question 5, you must certify that no individual or corporation or partnership or other legal entity has or holds a financial interest in conducting the raffle other than the charity conducting the raffle or any charity who received funds from the raffles. For question 6, you must certify that no raffle was conducted and no tickets were sold, traded, or redeemed within an operating racetrack enclosure, satellite wagering facility, or gambling establishment. For question 7, you must certify that tickets were not sold, traded, or redeemed over the Internet. Using websites or any online platform to sell tickets is illegal. For question 8, you must certify that raffle funds were not used for any purpose outside of California. If the answer to any of the questions in Part C is false, the charity must explain the circumstances for each false answer with an attachment. If the explanations are not provided, or if they are incomplete, your charity may be given a violation notice, may be denied future raffle registrations, and may be subject to penalties. The report ends with the authorized officer signing and dating the form. The new raffle registration and reporting forms are available for download on the Attorney General's website, oag.ca.gov. www.cal.gov/charities/raffles. Please use these new forms. An opportunity drawing, otherwise known as a free raffle, may be exempt from registration if it satisfies all of the following requirements. The opportunity drawing involves a general and indiscriminate distribution of the tickets. The tickets for the opportunity drawing must be offered on the same terms and conditions as the tickets for which a donation is given. The opportunity drawing does not require any of the participants to pay for a chance to win. Other games of chance, such as casino nights or 50-50 sports raffles, are regulated by the Bureau of Gambling Control. Please visit their website for more information. Please note that the registry cannot give legal advice or answer any what-if scenarios. To ensure you remain in compliance, please contact your attorney. If you fail to comply with the raffle registration and reporting requirements, Penal Code Section 320.5 requires that a charity register and file annual financial reports. If your charity failed to register and file reports, contact the registry. If you failed to file a raffle report, the registry will not renew your charity's raffle registration if it did not receive the raffle report from prior years. Even if your charity canceled or held no raffles, if you registered, you must submit a report. If your charity ignores the raffle rules, or if you are an individual or a for-profit organization who conducted a raffle, you may find yourself being subject to a cease and desist order issued by the registry. The cease and desist order will require that you account for all monies raised from the raffles and may assess penalties. The violation of raffle laws and regulations may be enforced by the Attorney General or your local district attorney. Conducting an illegal raffle may also be prosecuted as a criminal misdemeanor. Because the consequences of violating the penal code involving raffles can be severe, we urge you to be proactive in registering and filing the raffle reports. This concludes our presentation. The raffle forms, rules, and FAQs about raffles are on the Attorney General's website at oag.ca.gov/charities/raffles. Please note that the registry staff cannot provide legal advice to specific scenarios pertaining to raffles. If you have any questions about the raffle you are holding, please seek legal counsel for advice. Thank you for participating in this webinar. We hope that the webinar was helpful.